And how do I spot myself for a second? Hello, everyone. I'm Francesca Tabor here in London, and welcome to Gen AI Con Animation, where we'll be running through the top generative AI tools for creating animation, whether it's for storytelling purposes, for creating a cool music video, for creating NFTs and artwork. So really, really looking forward to the speakers that we have coming up today. Let me quickly present my screen. So here is our exciting roster of speakers. So first up, we've got Kazi Ahmed, who is a prompt engineer. Super excited about what you're about to present. I've had sneak peeks of your animation and I've been following your work for a while now. And then I'll introduce the rest of our speakers as we go through the day. So here is a brief introduction from Kazi. So he is a digital marketing professional with 7 years worth of experience, encompassing pretty much every single different area of marketing, all of the exciting new tools, including TikTok, Constant Contact, etc., etc. So I will now pass it over to you, Kazi, as we start to explore these really exciting new tools and how you probably also weave it into your marketing process. I will stop spotlighting myself and I'll spotlight you.
Yeah, sure.
And all right. And I'll stop sharing my screen so you can then share your screen if you want.
Yeah, of course.
Great.
Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So yeah, welcome to Gen AI. My name is Kazi. I am a content creator and an independent AI researcher. So I've been doing a lot of work in AI with a few different platforms. So today I want to show you how I bring my ideas to life using AI. Filmmaking is lots of fun, but it does require a lot of different kinds of skills and talents, and sometimes huge groups of people or even a big budget to pull off a production. It's even harder for someone new to break into this industry. Imagine if there was an AI tool to create, to help independent filmmakers to visualize their ideas and bring their stories to life. Unfortunately, there is no one-click solution for this at the moment, but let me show you how you can combine the power of multiple different AI platforms like Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, HeyGen AI, and Runway ML to bring your imagination to life. In today's presentation, I will talk about how to generate storyboards from a script, including casting your favorite characters as mock-up, controlling their actions and poses and emotions, and finally weaving it all together to create an AI-powered animation. And before we get started, I want to clarify that what I'm about to show you guys is for research and demonstration only. I don't plan to monetize this in any way. So actors like Pedro Pascal, Rebecca Ferguson, Simu Liu, or Zoe Kravitz are not involved in this project in any way. I'm just here to show you guys the power of today's generative AI models. So without any further ado, let's dive in. So a few days ago, I was chatting with ChatGPT, like we all do. I asked it to help me write a screenplay for a short film. And from that screenplay, I chose a few scenes and generated a storyboard. So I asked ChatGPT that for my presentation, I need to create a mock-up trailer. Can you help me write a script? So I gave him some directions, like feel free to choose which actor would fit each role. I really like Pedro Pascal, Rebecca Ferguson, Simu Liu, and Zoe Kravitz, and I gave it a few example dialogues as well. Then I asked it to feel free to be extremely creative, take inspiration from the directors like Christopher Nolan, Martin Scorsese, etc., and give me a screenplay for the trailer. and describe each frame visually for the trailer. So it gave me a script, and from here, I chose one scene to demonstrate for you guys today. So in this scene, our protagonist, played by Pedro Pascal, Alex Mercer, sits in a passenger seat of the car, his gaze fixed on the cityscape outside. So if I were a traditional art director who is working on a storyboard, I would maybe create something like this by drawing it, and it would take me a couple hours to create something like this. But instead of doing a traditional storyboard like this, what I did, I put this prompt into Midjourney. So here the prompt says, cinematic scene, side profile shot, Pedro Pascal wearing a red t-shirt, sitting in a car, futuristic city in the background, shallow depth of field, motion blur, anamorphic lens flare. So in this prompt, the first two words, cinematic scene, describes what kind of visual I'm trying to generate. Then we have the type of shot that we're trying to recreate here. So I wrote side profile shot. After that, I have the character. In this case, I'm using a name of a celebrity, but you can choose different keywords like nationality, ethnicity, age, whatever you want to describe the main character in your visual. Next, we have the appearance. Here I have written wearing a red t-shirt. So that means my character will be wearing a red t-shirt. And then he's sitting in a car. That's the action or emotion that he's expressing in this scene. And then we have futuristic city as the location in the background. Finally, we have a few keywords which describe different effects in the visual. So shallow depth of field makes sure that the subject is in focus and the background area is out of focus. Then I added motion blur to make it look like the car is moving, and anamorphic lens flare to make it look a little bit more sci-fi. So I plot this into Midjourney, and this is what I got. So as you can see, it's a lot like how the prompt or the script ChatGPT provided me. I have the main character, Alex Mercer, sitting in the passenger seat of a car. We have an out-of-focus city background in the back. He's looking into the city. So this is how you can create different scenes with your characters and by describing this kind of descriptive prompt. Now we're going to take it a little bit further. So now I post a lot of content on my social channels about this kind of tutorials. And the common question I always get is like, how do I create consistent characters throughout my generations? So if I am working on a storyboard, I have to make sure my character looks consistent in different frames and different scenarios. So there are different ways to do it. I'll just share my workflow with you guys. Oh, and by the way, so I missed one step. So in this one, Pedro Pascal, I can make him look a little bit more like Pedro Pascal, how I described in the prompt. For that, I'm using Deepfake Insight Face Swap. It's an extension for Midjourney. It's very simple and easy to use. You basically import a photo of the person that you're trying to create a deepfake of. Then you provide an ID. So in this case, I've written Pedro as the ID. Next, you import the target image where you want to replace the image or the face. So here I've imported the image that I have generated with Midjourney, and I'm calling the ID here that I've created with Pedro Pascal's photo. The cool thing about this is we can always do this kind of similar photo manipulation in Photoshop, but it does it in a matter of seconds. And you don't even need a side profile photo to recreate a scene like this. You can use a front photo and then recreate any scene with any different angle, any different kind of lighting, whatever you want. And voila, you have Pedro Pascal sitting in the car, looking at the city. So this way you can generate many different frames for your storyboard. Now, coming back to the character consistency. So first in Midjourney, I wrote another prompt for my second character in this video, that is Simu Liu. So I've written cinematic scene, close-up shot of Simu Liu wearing a blue polo shirt, a futuristic nightclub, crowded scene, shallow depth of field, out of focus background, and bokeh. So Midjourney gave me these 4 options. From these 4 options, I feel like number 3 is the most relevant to the prompt. So I selected number 3 and upscaled it. Now what I'll do, I'll figure out the seed number for this image that I've created. So a seed number in generative AI is a starting point or initial input that is used to generate an output. By default, it's set to random, but we can use specific seed numbers if we want, and that gives us very consistent and similar kind of images. So I copy this seed number by adding a reaction to my Midjourney generated post. If you click the reaction button here and then click the envelope icon, it will give you the seed number. You copy the seed number, and then I use a technique called permutation prompts. So in Midjourney, permutation prompts let you quickly generate many variations of the same prompt with a single imagine command. You use the permutation prompts by using a list of things that you want separated by commas and then put them inside a curly bracket. I'll show you an example. So here I have written cinematic scene, close-up shot of Simu Liu wearing a blue polo shirt, a futuristic. Then within curly brackets, I've written library, apartment interior, hospital, nightclub, police station, lab. And then I've written the seed number here. So what it does, then Midjourney, from this permutation prompt, Midjourney generates 6 different prompts for me so that I don't have to write it manually to generate 6 different backgrounds with the same character in the same style. And once I run these prompts to Midjourney, it gives me 4 images for each of the prompt that I plotted in. Now from here, I select the ones that I really like and then enlarge them and run it through deepfake again. And that gives me these 4 images where the clothing is kind of consistent. He's wearing the same blue polo shirt, and his hairstyle and facial expression is kind of similar throughout the scenes. So that makes that this is how you can create like different scenes with the same character, but and with keeping the consistency of the style of the image that you're trying to create, the type of lighting you're trying to capture, and the character consistency. Next, we'll shift gears and talk about different kinds of poses, actions, and emotions and expressions generated with AI. For this chapter, I will use Stable Diffusion instead of Midjourney because it gives me more control over my generations. So first, I start by creating a reference photo. For that one, I use a website called Pose My Art. It's completely free to use. There are premium versions of it, but you can use the free version for this purpose. So what it does, it gives you different 3D models, references for you to use for free, and you can play around with it in their web UI. You don't even have to download a software or anything. And then you can adjust the camera angle based on the shot you're trying to create, and then get a reference photo like this. Once we have the reference photo, we go into Stable Diffusion, and there is an extension for Stable Diffusion called ControlNet. What ControlNet does, it takes the reference image, and then I can create an open pose skeleton like this one from my original image with just a click of a button. Once I have these pose, and then I run my prompt and this pose from ControlNet in Stable Diffusion to generate an image like this. So as you can see, we started from here, this reference, then we generated the open pose skeleton, and finally we have the generated image. In the prompt, you see in the highlighted section, I've written action pose, ready to fight. I've added these keywords so that it's easy for Stable Diffusion to understand what I'm asking it to do. Similar to the Insight Face Swap extension for Midjourney, Stable Diffusion also has a free plugin for deepfake. It's called Roop. So for this one, I used Pedro Pascal's photo, replaced the image with him in the target image, and now Pedro is back. So we figured out how to control the actions or the poses of our characters, but with the consistency of their face and body structure. Next, we'll create different emotions for our character. And how do you do that? We do that with Stable Diffusion in Painting. So using Stable Diffusion in Painting and deepfake and prompting, we can change the emotions and expressions of our character. So in Painting, I masked over the face of Pedro Pascal, and then I used Roop to make sure that the generated image from this reference image, the character's facial consistency is intact. This way, using inpainting, deepfake, and prompting, we can change the emotions and expressions. Now we have angry Pedro, happy Pedro, and sad Pedro. So this way you can create all different kinds of expressions and emotions for your characters. Now it's time to animate all of these images that I have created. To do that, I have used two different platforms. The first one is Runway ML's Gen 2, which is very straightforward and easy to use. You basically open Gen 2 on your website, on their website, you import your image and you hit generate. And then it generates an animated version of your image. Usually doesn't come out the way you want it to, but sometimes if the image is kind of leading, for example, in this one, we have some motion blur and a running action from Pedro Pascal, so that when Runway ML sees this image, it understands, okay, this is a photo of someone running and it's captured in motion. So when it translates it translates something like this, which kind of look like Pedro Pascal is running towards me. The next item I'm about to show you is called Pika Labs. It's also an image to video generation platform, but it gives us more control than the previous one. In this one, you can import an image as an input, and you can also add a prompt with it to make the animation look like how you want it to look like. So here I have added a photo that I've generated with Midjourney. It's a photo of a Dodge Challenger cruising through the city. In the prompt, I have written camera movement, motion blur, red Dodge Challenger drifting on city street, city background. And from this image, Pika Labs has created this animation. Can you guys see the GIFs that's moving? Okay, all right. All right, now it's time to make our characters talk. So to do that, I'm using wave to lip animation. There are different platforms that you can use. There is Sad Talker, which is open source and free. There is Wave to Lip. There is HeyGen and DID. So I personally like HeyGen. So I use HeyGen for this example. It's not a free model. It gives you a free credits to create a few generations, but then you have to pay for more. So this one is very easy. You basically import the image inside HeyGen's interface. Then you write down your text script that you want it to speak, and you select a voice model, how you want it to sound. You can also use an audio script if you want, but for this example, I'm just using a text script. So I plotted this one, and then it animated it to this one. And now Zoe Kravitz is talking. Finally, weaving everything together, I have created a small trailer for you guys today. I'm very excited to show this to you guys. I worked last 2 nights to finalize this trailer. I hope you guys enjoy it as much. Sorry?
So exciting. It's like you're a future
All right.
filmmaker.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna mute my mic so that there is no echo in the video. So then I'll open the floor for questions. Just in case, if the video doesn't translate well on the video streaming, what I'll do, I'll share the link to the YouTube video in the chat later after this session. You guys can take a look at it later then, if it doesn't work, just in case.
Thank you.
Can you guys hear the audio?
I'm going to have a look at the settings to see if the audio is working a little bit better.
Oh, okay, let me reshare then. Wait. I think now it will work.
Perfect, let's try. Yes.
And it goes like this. We'll get in your car and you'll need to kiss me. We'll talk for hours and lie on the backseat.
I was excited about his brain. I was excited about where he wanted to take this.
And one random night when everything changes, you won't reply, I'll go back to strangers.
I may not be real in your world, but you are not real in mine either.
And get in your car and you'll need to kiss me. We'll talk for hours and lie on the backseat.
Because I wouldn't be here if it weren't for those influences. And therefore,
One random night when everything changes, you won't reply, I'll go back to strangers. And then get in your car and you'll need to kiss me. We'll talk for hours and lie on the backseat.
I may not be real in your world, but you are not real in mine either.
Go back to strangers. And then get in your car and you'll need to kiss me. We'll talk for hours and lie on the backseat. And then one random night when everything changes, you
Wow,
Right.
that was fantastic.
Thank you so much.
You must,
Sorry, go ahead.
what are you going to do next with that? Do you think you're going to extend it
Yeah,
out?
I'll share that with you guys. So if you guys want to learn more about my research and experiments, check out spaceodd.com. So me and one of my friends are working really hard to create an open source platform for filmmakers and independent filmmakers where they can effortlessly create storyboards, visuals, even animated mock-up trailers by just inputting their script into the system. So this is what it will look like, Space Odd. So where you input your script, it will break down the script for you and generate a summary of the script, create all the separate scenes. It will tell you how many locations, how many shots there are, how many times a character is being shot in each scene, and then their clothing descriptions, whatever you want, it will generate everything for you. And then it will create these images for you. And you can also use our TTF system to generate the voice like we saw on Hagen's model. And finally, we can also create like a mock-up trailer like the one you just saw. So this is what we're working on. And if you want to support us or learn more about our platform, please visit spaceodd.com. I also wanted to take a minute to talk about the ethical side of this exciting new technology. So these tools are super powerful. But as Uncle Ben once said, with great power comes great responsibility. So imagine a collaboration between policymakers, artists, and film studios where they can together come up with a strategy and a guideline so that we can all use AI responsibly and ethically. And when an actor's looks or expressions or voices gets used in a commercial project, they deserve a fair share of that cake. And it shouldn't be a one-time payment. It should be a fair negotiation between both parties to come up with maybe a subscription system or a licensing system so that no one can infringe upon an individual's individual like intellectual properties to profit unjustly. So the last thing that I want to say is that the possibilities with AI are endless, and the only limitation is our imagination. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. It was a pleasure sharing my learning and my knowledge with you guys. I'll open the floor for questions and comments. So yeah, let's hear it from you guys.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your presentation. There was so much work that went into it, and really exciting to see your new platform that's coming up. What's coming up on your roadmap for the platform that you're building, and will you be, raising investment for that?
Yes, that's the plan. So right now, what we have done, we have used these separate nodes of our system to generate this kind of different trailers to see how it will work. The next step is to automate this whole process. So we are working with a few other friends who are machine learning engineers. So they are helping us to create like an automation for the whole process, where on our platform, you can basically input a script and it will generate all of the things that you want it to generate.
Okay.
Without you having to actually manually go into Midjourney or Hagen and do all of these steps. I mean, you can do it if you want. I mean, I'll definitely make a complete YouTube video out of this so that, in future, if anyone wants to create something like this, they can refer to my video.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine an automated system that would help a lot of independent filmmakers.
Fantastic. And to really move things to the next level in terms of consistency, would photogrammetry be required of, say, someone's face in different lighting
That's also
conditions?
something that we are researching on. So another thing that I have tried in my research is creating custom LoRa's. So how LoRa's are created is basically taking like 15 different photos of a person in different outfits, in different backgrounds and different lighting situations, like natural photos, not just portraits or anything. So we use those photos to train a custom model in likeness of that character, so that when you create image with that specific LoRa, and like it will generate a consistent character based on the LoRa that is trained on. And the best part is it doesn't have to be a realistic image. Like I have some examples on my TikTok. If you go to my channel, feel free to check out my videos. So where I have created a LoRa of myself, and then I have transformed myself into different kinds of characters, not just realistic one. So I have changed myself into like a character in the Spider-Verse. Then I've changed myself into a character in Arcane style, and then Cyberpunk style, like all different styles. And it's very easy to use and very easy to create. But the only limitation is the licensing thing. So because I think a lot of studios will be doing this in the future, but there should be a fair policy behind this, where if a corporation wants to use someone's photo in their commercial project, they should definitely pay that person, and not just a one-time fee, but every time their likeness is used, they should get paid.
Absolutely, royalties need to be baked into this.
Yes.
So that's a difficult and thorny subject, and I think lawyers need to spot up on all of these new technologies to
Yeah, definitely.
develop something, maybe on the blockchain, maybe it's NFT related. That will be really super fascinating. And who do you think are the main players who will start to move into this space? So you named studios. Do you think Netflix are cooking up something as well?
I think Netflix is already working something like, behind the doors right now with this kind of technology. Like for me, I am just an independent researcher. I work with, like, I do this after office. Like I have a regular job. I do this after work with my friends. We share ideas and we create things like this. Now, if I can do this with a regular PC in my basement, imagine what a big studio like Netflix or Sony can do with their like millions of dollars worth of research. So I'm sure in the coming years, we will see a lot of AI generated content in mainstream media, like we are seeing like the use of CGI in all movies and all TV shows. We'll see the use of generative AI in future productions of films, TV shows, music videos, and even video games.
Mm-hmm. And if you were to look at software like Wonder Labs, where you can switch the character to an animated character, I suppose that's CGI as opposed to generative AI, is it? And
I think there is a part of AI in this as well, because they have trained a model which actually identifies the character that is moving in the video, in the source video, and then they have to use generative fill to remove that character, and then use like a 3D character on top of that, and then make sure the lighting, the depth of field, the camera angle, the aperture, everything is matching with the source video. So I think there is a lot of different keys behind this technology. It's not as simple as like, green screen CGI. I'm not saying green screen CGI is very simple, but as compared to the complexity of this method, it is more complex than that. I think there is definitely a lot of machine learning and AI behind this technology.
And how important will it be to have new cameras as well? So HDRIs, for example, are where you take photos, but it's multiple photos in one with different lighting conditions. So you can recreate those afterwards. It adds more sort of quality and usability of those photos. So
I think that will also happen. Yeah, like you're saying. So for camera manufacturers, especially like smartphone manufacturers, I'm sure in the next iteration of in the next coming years, the new Samsung Galaxy phones and iPhones, they will have AI powered cameras in their cell phones, where you'll be able to like take a photo and reimagine the photo however you want. It will do that for you. So you will never have a bad photo. So every time you take a photo, even if it's a candid photo, it will make sure it looks polished. The lighting is perfect. The shadows are perfect. Your makeup is perfect. Your hair is perfect. So yeah, generative AI will take things to a different level.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of these cameras, even PTZ cameras, which are little kind of webcams, which they pan, tilt, and zoom, they can follow you, and they can also identify, who you are.
How many characters are in
using
the frame and everything? Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
absolutely. Using
Fascinating
facial
technology.
tracking, so and facial recognition. So in theory, and that's live stream. In theory, you could then take all of those images and it could create a LoRa, automatically.
Yeah, automatically. Yeah, it can do that if it has that kind of computational power in the device, or maybe even in the cloud servers, they can easily do that.
Fantastic. Please do send through your questions if you have any. We've got a question from Rupert, which is with regards to editing software, so video editing tools.
Yeah,
Would you be able to break down that? Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So there are a few different editing tools that you can use. So as a content creator myself, I try to use something that is very lightweight, easy to use, and very quick in exporting videos. So I use a free open source software, well, not open source, sorry, free software called CapCut. And the other one that I use is called DaVinci Resolve. Both of these are completely free. There are pro features in these, but you don't have to subscribe for those pro features. You can use the free features. And the cool thing about these are very lightweight and very easy to use, very intuitive. And the export works like very quick. If I created something in, for example, Premiere Pro or After Effects, if the rendering time for maybe, say, a 1 minute TikTok video takes, say, 3 minutes or 4 minutes, I can render the same video or a similar edit video in CapCut for like 15-20 seconds. So which is a lot faster. But yeah, definitely Premiere Pro and After Effects gives you more control and more organizational power in terms of editing videos. But if it's a small scale project like this kind of videos, I definitely recommend something simple like CapCut.
Fantastic. And the last question that I have personally, but please feel free to send for any more questions that you have, is how could you potentially use maybe ChatGPT if you want to create films and you want to tell stories, but you didn't go to film school and you need to reverse engineer the whole process, you want to learn the process, could you potentially use ChatGPT to say, walk you through being a Wes Anderson style director?
Yeah, definitely. So what I usually did, I did recently, a few days ago actually. So I was using a different large language model or LLM. It's called Claude.ai, so which is by Anthropic, and it's similar to ChatGPT, but I think it's more powerful in terms of linguistic abilities. So in that one, you can actually upload documents and provide links for it to read. So if you go into, there is a internet movie screenplay database. Just search internet movie screenplay database on Google, you'll find a website. I don't remember the exact link. If you go there, you can download any script and copy that script into Claude AI, and then that can be a starting point for this experimental purpose. You can say, okay, I like this movie, I like this script and this idea. What else can I do with this idea? Or say you like the plot of the movie or treatment of the movie, but you already have an idea. Then you can say, okay, I like this treatment, but this is my original idea. I want you to combine these two and come up with a new story. And to do these things, I think a step-by-step approach is best. Like if you provide it with just one prompt, say, write a movie for me, it won't do it for you. But if you provide it context and references and examples, like, for example, in my first slide, how I showed, I provided this prompt to ChatGPT. So I said, I want to show a mock-up film trailer. Can you help me write a screenplay for a trailer like that? I want 4 main characters, 2 men, 2 women. A man is playing a VR simulation in which the NPCs are powered by AI. The NPCs are realistic simulation, and they don't know that they are in a simulation. And then I provided which actors I want in this. And then I provided a few example dialogues for the movie. And then I asked you to be extremely creative and take inspiration from directors like Christopher Nolan and Martin Scorsese. And then it provided me with a script. And it's pretty interesting. It has like a starting point, a middle point, and an ending point. And the whole organization of it and the dialogues, it was pretty intriguing. I'm not saying it will be a blockbuster film from ChatGPT, but you can definitely get help from a platform like this when you hit writer's block, or if you don't have any experience in filmmaking or screenplay writing. You can take help from this kind of tools and combine your ideas with its ability to generate scripts.
Fantastic. And you mentioned Claude AI. What does Claude AI do?
So Claude AI is similar to ChatGPT, but it is designed by Anthropic. It's a different company. And in my research and experiment, I feel that Claude AI is more powerful in terms of linguistic abilities. Like if you ask it to write scripts or poems or songs, after you give it references, it does an excellent job as compared to ChatGPT. But that's just a personal preference. There is no factual defense behind it. So I'm just sharing what I have experienced.
Fantastic. Well, it's so exciting to see all of your work. I know it's incredibly late for you. And yes, thank you so much for taking part in Jenny Icon.
Yeah, you're welcome. I wanted to send the link for the YouTube video to you guys. How do I do that?
So there is a Zoom chat, and we will obviously share around any links that you have.
Awesome. So yeah, here you go. Here's the link for the video. And here's the link for spacethought.com.
How would you like people to get in touch with you? Would LinkedIn be best, or?
So yeah, you can reach out through my website contact form or email me at kazi@kaziahmed.net.
Fantastic. Great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for this amazing kickoff. We actually have a little bit of a gap in our program. And we have our next speaker is Carolina Mellis. And so what she does is she creates some incredible portraits, which are animated loops through code. These are being sold at the moment as NFTs. And in order to make these loops more engaging, she randomizes the loop. So every time you watch it, something is slightly different. So a very, very unique form of artwork. And we'll also be discussing avatars, blockchain. I've got a whole range of tools that I'm going to be walking through. I used to work at Move AI, which is a motion capture company. And what they do is they digitize motion using iPhones. So you can set up a rig, place your different iPhones or GoPros on tripods, and then you can move in the middle and basically extract that motion and retarget it to any avatar you want. So that's really super helpful for any choreographed pieces. And I had a lot of fun working with footballers, working with stunt artists, choreographing fight scenes. So I will be running through all of these different motion capture tools and other sort of generative AI tools on the market. But I'm going to stop recording, and if you just want to hang on and just introduce yourself, say hi, we can do that and then reconvene a little bit later.